Another episode of Parsha at the Barber. This week we're not at the barber because Ilya doesn't really have so much work right now because it's the Omer. So people don't really get haircuts. So it might be like this for the next few weeks, although next week I believe we're going to do it in the barbershop. Anyways, hope everyone is well. Hope your Pesach break was good. And hope you had a meaningful Pesach. This week's Parsha is Parshas Acharei Mos. Acharei Mos. It's only one Parsha this year, and it talks about many things. It speaks about after the passing of Aaron's two sons. Many laws were given, and we're going to mention a few of them. Like this. Number one, this is dedicated to the protection. Hashem should protect the soldiers of the front lines. Hashem should bring back our hostages. We should see miracles and peace in the whole world. Now, the Parsha mentions, first of all, go watch last year's. It was both Parshas together, but go watch that. Meaning Acharei Mos and Kedoshim, go watch that. There's some stuff that we're not going to repeat this year. And let's get on with this year's episode. So the Torah talks about, I'm just going to do this quick, by the way, because it's late and it's been, normally we try to do this Monday night, but with Pesach, obviously that wasn't possible. There was a lot of traveling. It's in California, and got back only 2 days ago, less. Anyway, I'm going to get to the actual Parsha now. So it talks about Kisui Hadam, which is covering. We're supposed to cover the blood of the animals that are slaughtered with dust, but it's only birds and wild animals, not domestic animals. The question is, why? So there's a few answers, but one of the answers, or a few versions of one of the answers, is that when Cain killed his brother Hevel, so Cain didn't know what to do with his body afterwards. I was like, what do you do with a dead body? And there's one version of this, one opinion that says that Hashem brought two birds and one of them killed the other bird, and one bird took and one bird killed the other bird, and he then proceeded to dig a hole in the ground and bury the other bird, the dead bird, in the hole. Made him a little, a little burial. And so he realized that Cain realizes how he can bury his brother Hevel. Another opinion says that it was birds and wild animals that buried Hevel themselves, and therefore, for this reason, they are repaid with also their blood being covered. Now, I just wanted to mention a few other things. Again, I'm really sorry that this is not a full-length episode this week. This is like pretty close to Shabbos comparing to what we normally do. But I'm just going to quickly check that everything is in order. I should have done this in the beginning, but okay, it shows that we're live. Very good. You always have to double check on the channel itself. Next, it talks about the Parsha talks about v'chai bahem. So it says that these are the mitzvahs you're supposed to do. V'chai bahem, you should live in them. And from here, the Torah learns from here the Chachamim learn, and the Torah is telling us we should live keeping the mitzvahs and not die keeping the mitzvahs. What does that mean? So, in general, apart from a few exceptions, if your life is in jeopardy, if your life is threatened, if a Jew is in a life-threatening situation, and in order to save himself, he must do something which normally would be prohibited, he's allowed to. Not only is he allowed to, he should. Now, depending on the situation, there is a choice. The person could decide anyways that he would like to give his life up for instead of save his life for Hashem and for the Torah. And there are some times when he has to give up his life. Those are exceptions. And there's a story actually that there was an Amira who he was doing work for a non-Jewish man, and this non-Jewish man brought him some non-kosher meat and said, "Eat or I'll kill you." And he said, "No, I'm not going to eat." He decided that he was going to give up his life rather than transgress and eat non-kosher food. And afterwards, the non-Jewish man says, "You should know that if you would have eaten, then I would have killed you, because that would show that you're not genuine and you're not really a godly person." Which, it's a really beautiful story, and it also shows that we we're being watched. People look at us and see and want to see if we're really real, and if the Jewish nation really, if we really put our money where our mouth is when it comes to being committed to Hashem. I heard a story with a certain tzaddik that was the opposite, where he had seen one of his non-Jewish employees or a servant who acted not in line with his religion, but even though that wasn't part of Judaism, but because that man was was supposed to be a religious person in his religion, and he didn't practice that way. He said, "I can't trust you because you don't have integrity," and he fired him. So whatever it is that you choose, whatever life it is you choose, be authentic. And one last thing I wanted to say, that this is at the end of the parsha. It says "Ushmartem es mishmarti," that you're supposed to keep guard my guarding, right? So it's like a double language. And from here, it's learned that you're supposed to put boundaries, right? Many times we see that there are things that not necessarily the Torah says it, but then the Chachamim came ahead, they came and said, in order so that a person won't transgress what it says in the Torah, we're going to put a bunch of fail-safes, a bunch of, sort of fences, spiritual fences, in order for a person to never reach the transgression. And this is very important because people will say, you don't really, why do you have to be more strict? The Torah already gives us all these guidelines. And people will even say, look, Adam Harishon told his wife, Chava, first man, made this mistake, right? He told his wife, don't touch a tree. And he wasn't told by Hashem not to touch a tree, not to touch a tree. He was told not to eat from the tree. And by telling her that, when the snake pushed her and she touched the tree, she started to doubt the whole thing. So the answer for this is basically, and it's a longer talk. This is from the Rebbe. This is a longer sikha, but the answer is that we are not just here to get by life and just to, get away with as little as possible. It says Ukadoshim Tiyu, we're an Am Kadosh, we're a holy nation, we're Hashem's nation, and our entire life is supposed to be lived in a godly way. And therefore, our focus isn't, let's live life and let's live by the rules of the big big guy, the big boss. Rather, let's be connected to the big boss and be as holy as we can. And therefore, we'd rather, I think it's brought down, it's better to put 100 fail-safes, 100 fences, than to transgress one thing, because that means a lack of connectedness with God, and that's something we don't want. And regarding what happened in Gan Eden with Adam HaRishon, with the first man, in that case, there was no evil in the world yet, right? He was in the garden, he was perfect. So in such a case, of course, you don't need anything extra because the world was in its perfect state. But we live in a world where we have an evil inclination, where there's a lot of darkness in the world, and therefore we have to add in light and light up the world and make it a better place to live. And in order to do so, we need to add and not just, try to get by with the bare minimum. There's so much more. I actually, there are way more. There's way more things that I actually learned. I had 2 weeks to prepare instead of one, and I brought my sefer with me to California, and I forgot to bring it. I'm going to have it brought soon, God willing. But that's why, it's shorter. I don't have so much material because I had actually prepared. I didn't write it down, and that's the main sefer I prepare from. But also, we're limited in time. But there's always next year, so we'll have more material for next year. We hope you found this. By we, I mean me and Ilya, who isn't here. But yeah, we hope you find this informative and entertaining. And if you made it to the end, you're an absolute legend. Please subscribe. Please smash the like button. Please consider supporting the channel. There'll be links in the description. Probably after Shabbos because it's a little bit late. And yeah, thank you so much. Hope to see you again. Until next time, it's Shabbos.